Can you tell my eyes are bloodshot? It's fine.
Hey there. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Izzy, and welcome to my Zenith project. For my Zenith project, I plan to create 30 art things in the span of a month, including learning how to do 2D animation. Since I was a film student my first year of freestyle, I never really learned how to do 2D, besides my very sloppily made experimental, which I pulled an all-nighter on. Originally, my plan was to do about 10 animations and 20 drawings. However, I very quickly realized that I could not do that. So instead, I did 5 animations and about 25 drawings. For the general theme of everything I drew, I wanted to focus on what I was feeling and experiencing each day for a month. This included how my mental health was, my dynamics with friends, general thoughts and feelings each day. To do this and keep everything organized, I first wrote everything down in my writer's notebook each day for 30 days. And at the end of each day, I would try to come up with a drawing or animation idea based on my experiences for that day. The drawing part itself was pretty simple. I either drew simple doodles on notebook paper or painted a few of them when I had a little more time. At one point, I even did drawings on earrings, which were a tad annoying. And then I also did my promposal poster for my boyfriend, my journal. The general thing I was trying to do with this whole Zenith project in the first place was basically to just try to get my creative juices flowing. I have honestly been stuck in kind of an artist block for the last year or so this basically, the whole Zenith was just to try to do that and also please my therapist because they asked me to get back into drawing, so here I am. As for the actual creation of the 2D animations, I animated through OpenToons. For my general thoughts on OpenToons, honestly, it is a generally easy and fun to use software. Here's my general rating. Overall, like I mentioned before, it's a pretty good free software to download onto a Mac or PC computer. You are able to change the size and consistency of the pen tool as well as change the accuracy. The higher the accuracy, the more likely it will be to whatever line you actually drew. They also have a couple different layer options you can choose from. Vector layer is my personal favorite since it allows you to edit and reshape individual lines rather than the whole drawing. Also, another thing which is super small but I just find it more aesthetically pleasing is that the vector mask has a clean line when you zoom in versus other layer types. When you use it, it gets kind of pixelated the closer you get and it's not really as clean. In general, when it comes to keyboard shortcuts and just using the software in general, it works pretty easily and makes it so that learning animation is a lot less stress to take on. However, there are some issues. The biggest one when it came down to getting the animations done is the OpenToons lag, and it lags a lot. It also often crashes on more detailed or complex files, which makes it so it's much more difficult to get the animations done by the due date. The amount of times that I had OpenToons crash and have to wait 30 minutes to 2 hours really caused a good chunk of my time for getting this project done to vanish. Also, when it comes down to exporting the finished animations, you aren't able to export it as an actual put together video, at least not without following a kind of complex video on how to do it and then still not getting it to work. It renders out in single frames kind of like Maya, except you have to edit each frame together one by one in After Effects instead of it being able to put itself in order like with the Maya rendering. So I instead just recorded Zoom meetings to get the animated videos for the project. Overall, I would give OpenToons when it comes to actually creating the animations, I would give it an 8 out of 10, but when it comes to actually rendering them out and editing them and getting them done, probably a 6 out of 10. But it's a really good software to practice on if you're just wanting to get the hang of of animating 2D and you're new to the topic. Overall, this was my basic general review of OpenTunes, and this was also just my project in general. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh, okay. First of all, I would like to apologize for the amount of times I said general or generally in that video. No. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about OpenTunes, like especially like juniors, if you guys have any questions, if you want to do 2D animation for your Zenith next year and you have more questions about OpenTunes, I can send you to a couple of videos that give you a pretty good rundown on how to use it, or if you have any questions for me after this, you can go ahead and ask them. But yeah, that was my Zenith.
Like, what's the actual animations? Like,
Oh yeah, the animations are in another video that couldn't upload, but I'll have those done by later on today.
Okay, then any questions about the new software we used?
Chloe?
It's not the software, I just thought it was really impressive that you were able to do like something every single day. When you were showing so that you were adding animations in 20 drawings, I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you said you were like changed it, and I thought you were gonna do like maybe like 5 animations and like 10 drawings, but you still stuck to that 3. I thought it was really cool.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I also thought it was really impressive that you wanted to like teach yourself animation because you spent like a whole year on that and you pretty much did all of it by yourself.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah.
I thought your idea was like really unique. I just like that when I thought about it. It was really creative.
Thank you. Yeah.
I liked all the abstract and almost psychedelic style works that you did there at the beginning.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah.
I like how like you kind of like combined your project with also like just like doing like self-care stuff, like venting, like drawing out your feelings every day. Kind of like you were like basically you're like able to like do like a school project, but also just like take care of yourself at the same time. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of trying to do, so thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I know you said like you did film for your first year, and I usually use like Photoshop to do 2D animations, and I don't know, I was wondering if you had any experience with like Photoshop versus the other software that you use, and like why you choose that over Photoshop.
Yeah, so I tried Photoshop, and like I watched a couple of videos that Mr. Show sent me on how to do like the basics of animation, and Photoshop basically overall works kind of the same. It's just with OpenTunes you can kind of see everything that you need to use like at the same time. Like you don't need to like click on the layers to have it come out and like see all of it. It's all just right there in front of you. Also it's just when it comes to like the accuracy of the like pen tool and also just like changing the size of the pen and stuff, it's just a lot easier because you can make it so that like it changes with pressure and that's just automatically how it is. So you don't have to go into like the settings of like Photoshop for instance and like change it and make it so that it's like a pressure brush instead of just like a basic scribble. So yeah, I think that OpenTunes just like has everything right there in front of you more so than with Photoshop, but honestly when it comes to actually animating them they're basically the same. But yeah, I just prefer OpenTunes when it came to learning it. Cool. Thank you.
Right.